The latest iteration of Sierra is giving players a whole bunch of trouble, but a lot of players are determined to defeat this boss mainly because of the potential for a shiny shadow Lapras. So a lot of players really want to defeat this boss, but they're finding it to be extremely difficult. Of course, one of the hardest lineups of Sierra that you could go up against is a double Lapras lineup, but I'm going to be telling you how you could easily defeat Sierra even without using legendaries in this video. So yeah, let's jump right into it. How's it going, everyone? It's me, It's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon Go guide video. Today I'm going to be telling you how you can defeat the current iteration of Sierra. It's actually quite simple. You just need the right counters and know what to do with your charge moves. And I found that if you do this one thing, it's going to guarantee a defeat and you could potentially get yourself a shiny shadow Lapras. But of course, this is with the July 2020 iteration of Sierra, and she is subject to change. She could have a completely different lineup by the time you watch this video, so do keep that in mind while you're watching this guide. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So let's talk about Sierra's lineup first. So she will open up with either a Lapras or a Beldum, although right now I feel like it's only Lapras because the Sierras that I have been encountering have only given me Lapras as the opener. And then for the second Pokemon, she could potentially have a second Lapras, which a lot of players are finding to be really difficult. But she could also potentially have Exeggutor or Sharpedo. Sharpedo, of course, being the easiest one out of the three, but Exeggutor can give you a lot of trouble as well, and I'm going to be giving you a little trick on how you can defeat that lineup. And then for the third Pokemon that she could potentially have on her lineup is Shiftry, Houndoom, and Alakazam. I found that Houndoom is the most common and probably the easiest one to deal with, but Shiftry and Alakazam are not that difficult as well. It's really the double Lapras that you want to watch out for, but if you do get a double Lapras, if you use certain Pokemon, it's going to be really easy to defeat. Now for your opener against any of her lineups, I highly suggest you bring a Pokemon that is resistant to water types or ice types, and then you have some really easy charge moves that you could use. And the reason why I say this is because you will want to burn through her shields as fast as possible. The first Pokemon that you use is not really there to dish out a lot of damage, but it's really there to take care of her shields early. Once you burn through both of her shields, the rest of the lineup is easy to deal with. But of course, Lapras does dish out quite a lot of damage, so you will want to watch out. Now the tricky thing with Lapras is its typing. It has an ice type and a water type, which means it's going to resist a lot of the counters to any of its types. For example, if you are using a grass type to counter its water typing, well, potentially you could go up against ice type moves and have your grass type countered. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to determine what Pokemon to use up against Lapras. It may take a couple of failed tries to see what moveset the first Lapras has, but really you want to bring a Pokemon that resists whatever moveset it has. For example, if it has a water typing, you will want to bring a Pokemon that is resistant to water typing but has very fast charge moves. And if the Lapras's moveset is ice type, then you will want to bring something that resists ice types. Something that I like to use is Mamoswine, mainly because you can get charge moves off pretty easily, but because of the potential for going up against grass types as the second or third part of Sierra's lineup, then you could potentially have an ice type move ready to counter that grass type. As you can see right here, I opened up with Mamoswine after I scouted it out and found out that there was an Exeggutor as the second Pokemon. And of course, with Exeggutor, I was having a really hard time dealing with it with double electric types. So what I did is I opened up with Mamoswine, I got down one of the shields, and then I saved up an Avalanche and switched out to an electric type. Once I deal with Lapras, I pretty much dish out as much damage as I possibly can on the Exeggutor, and then I switch back to Mamoswine, and then I unleash the Avalanche, which will completely destroy it. And then for the third Pokemon, I scouted that it was Houndour, so I used a Swampert because Swampert completely wrecks Houndoom, and it was an easy victory. Here are some of the lineups that I highly suggest you bring. Magnezone is going to be your secret weapon. The reason why I say that is because, of course, it has that steel typing. If you're going up against double Lapras, then have two Magnezones. The nice thing about Magnezone is the fact that it's not legendary, which means more players will have access to it. The only thing you will want to watch out for is the fact that both Houndoom and Shiftry completely melt down Magnezone, so you will want to have a really good third option along with your 2 Magnezones. But yeah, it really comes down to scouting, seeing what Pokemon lineup that Sierra has, and then you could pick out your counters the right way. If you're going up against Lapras with water type moves, then bring a Pokemon that is resistant to water types, like grass types. Having 2 Venusaurs could be clutch going up against Lapras if it has water type moves. If it's using Surf on you, then you could use Venusaur to completely melt it down. But of course you will want to watch out because Venusaur does get melted down by ice type moves, and then let's say the first Lapras has water type moves and the second Lapras has ice type moves, then you will want to plan accordingly. But again, the first Pokemon that you use should be focusing on taking down both of her shields. Once both of Sierra's shields are taken down, then you can very easily melt down the rest of the Pokemon. And do not be afraid to switch out your Pokemon to the second Pokemon. There is that slight buffer every time you switch out a Pokemon or every time you use a charge move. Take full advantage of that going up against Sierra. One little trick that I use is that I use a charge move right away, and then I use the couple seconds that I have to build up a second charge attack, and then I immediately switch out to another Pokemon, and by that time she's been stale for quite a while. Because like I said, every time you switch out a Pokemon, every time you use a charge attack, or every time she uses a charge attack, she has 1 or 2 seconds where she will not do anything. So take full advantage of that. So yeah, just to recap, use Magnezone. That's going to be a very powerful Pokemon going up against Sierra. And of course, if you have grass types that you have to go up against, then make sure you have some really good ice types to counter that, mainly because ice types will resist a lot of Lapras's ice type moves, so that could give you a strong advantage. And for the third Pokemon in Sierra's lineup, just have a Pokemon that directly counters it and you will be okay. Here are some examples of lineups that I have used up against Sierra. I've used 2 Raikos with a Tyranitar. I've also used Mamoswine, Magnezone, and Swampert. You could also use 2 Magnezones with a direct counter to her third Pokemon, or 2 Venusaurs with a direct counter, or you could have a mix of both, where you could have a Magnezone and a Venusaur. Both of these lineups will do really well against Sierra. So there you have it, everyone. This is my quick guide on how you can defeat Sierra. Again, if you bring the right counters and if you play your charge moves right, you will be able to defeat Sierra with no issue at all. But let me know your thoughts down below. What are you using against Sierra? Have you caught a shiny Shadow Lapras yet? I would love to know. But yeah, be safe everyone, good luck, and I will catch you all later.